Malfo mentioned that he had sent Eriko's photo to Toriken so he could look into her, especially since Toriken knew a lot about the adult video industry. Seiya asked Malfo if he had found any information about Eiko. Malfo replied that they both already knew her stage name. The next applicant arrived named Bandu Bino. Once again, Isuzu noticed her face looked similar to one of the women in her dream from the night before. Seiya thought she was a cheerful girl. Seiya asked what the blood on Bino's clothes was, and Bino said she had rushed to the place. Seiya asked if Bino was hurt, and she said she was fine, just a minor injury. Blood from Bino even splattered onto Seiya's desk, and it looked like she had been stabbed and was losing a lot of blood. Seiya quickly called for an ambulance, but Bino insisted that she was fine and was willing to risk her life just to attend the interview. Seiya didn't want her to put her life at risk, but Bino refused to leave until she was accepted. The blood kept flowing from her body. Finally, Seiya accepted her for the job and begged her to go to the ambulance. Suddenly, Bino's older brother arrived and stopped her from working, claiming that he had tried to prevent her from coming to the interview by stabbing her. As the man tried to attack Seiya, Seiya kicked him, making him fall. Isuzu quickly shot him and Malfo hit him. When the man tried to strike Malfo on the head, Malfo dodged and punched him in the chin. Malfo said that the man would be temporarily paralyzed. The ambulance arrived to take Bino away. Isuzu, Seiya, and Malfo talked about Bino until they didn't notice any more applicants coming in. Malfo asked why they accepted Bino, and Isuzu said that, in fact, it was a relief. Most people would say they shouldn't have rejected her, but Bino stuck to her commitment with a smile even after being stabbed. Her determination and passion were very useful for the park. Seiya agreed and added that if Isuzu was so good at judging character, she should make that her life's guiding principle. Malfo also said that's why Isuzu had a big heart. Isuzu immediately pointed her musket at Malfo and Seiya. When Malfo dodged, the female applicant screamed in fear. Isuzu remembered that this girl was also one of the people in her dream. Seiya didn't understand why Isuzu kept talking about her dreams. The last applicant was wearing an Amity High School uniform. The girl introduced herself as Chuju Shina. Shina spoke very nervously, so Seiya told her to calm down. Seiya asked for Isuzu's opinion, and Isuzu said to accept her, since there weren't many female applicants and she didn't think Shina would try to seduce Seiya. Once again, Isuzu let something slip because of the effects of the honesty fruit. She quickly covered her mouth and hit her head. According to Malfo, based on her demeanor, Shina would have difficulty entertaining guests, but that wasn't an issue for him. Seiya thought Malfo would reject her, but after seeing the previous applicant, Malfo no longer cared. Seiya ended up accepting Shina. Shina was very grateful and quickly left. The interview session for the day was over, but before leaving, Isuzu told Seiya that earlier that morning Macaron's assessment of her was similar to Seiya's. Macaron had called her someone who was perplexed by complicated situations, saying that she never knew how to act when interacting with others, which was why she pulled out her musket. Isuzu said that if only she could go back, she would be able to see the future more clearly. Seiya responded that judging people and interacting with them were two different things. He asked Isuzu to stop being so indecisive and called her foolish. Isuzu then asked if Seiya was trying to comfort her, but it turned out he wasn't. Isuzu admitted that she had been jealous of Seiya more than once, almost continuing her sentence, but she stopped herself and quickly hid her head to keep herself from speaking her mind. Seiya said it was normal to feel jealous of someone's talent and told Isuzu not to overthink it. Isuzu then asked Seiya to change his pride in his strengths. Seiya, however, replied that he really did have many strengths. Isuzu quickly left the room. Seiya couldn't stop thinking about why Isuzu had hit her head several times that day. He was confused about what was going on with her. Suddenly, Isuzu sent Seiya a message about the next steps for the candidates. They would receive their acceptance letters by email and go through training before being assigned to their respective tasks and areas. Isuzu also apologized for what had happened earlier. Meanwhile, Macaron was upset because the AV tape that was supposed to feature Eiko had a different actress. It seemed that the photo Malfo had sent to Toriken was not the right one. However, Tirami was interested in watching it. Macaron and Malfo definitely didn't want to, as the actress was overweight and unattractive, but Tirami liked it and immediately started watching. Isuzu sent out emails to the candidates. Out of curiosity, she tried searching for Eiko's name online. However, when she looked it up, it turned out that the video she found was about animals nursing. So when Eiko had referred to AV, she didn't mean adult video, but animal video. The next day, training began. Malfo, Macaron, and Tirami came in front of the candidates, telling them to erase any disgusting smiles from their faces. Macaron told the candidates to stand, while Malfo declared that everyone in the room was no longer human and referred to them as the lowest creatures on Earth. Mawful and the others would train them as harshly as possible until they were worthy of entertaining the guests. They also planned to punish any candidates who were disobedient and unworthy of working at the amusement park. They instructed that every sentence the employees spoke should start and end with the word "sir." Mawful called all the candidates or mutts with no killer instinct. Suddenly, Seiya kicked Mawful, saying they might lose another employee if Mawful continued to train them so roughly. The two were about to fight when Isuzu skillfully shot between them to stop the altercation. The candidates were terrified. There were only 35 days left, and the target for the number of visitors was still 172,885 people. That day, the department heads of Amayu Brilliant Park held a meeting. Seiya stated that they were currently experiencing a staff shortage. Mawful pointed out that first they lacked money, and now they were short on employees. Ashley commented that just the other day, Seiya had hired new employees, and on top of that, the funds for paying salaries had been overlooked. Seiya explained that although they had received a financial injection, it was only for certain sectors, and the rest remained out of their reach. Isuzu doubted that many people would apply, but Toriken suggested that they might actually receive a lot of beautiful applicants, possibly even ones aiming for Isuzu's position. Isuzu responded that if someone more suitable than her appeared, she would gladly hand over her position. Seiya decided that starting tomorrow, they would open job applications. That night, Isuzu had a dream about 3 beautiful girls whom Seiya had hired. They successfully took her position, and Seiya no longer needed her. Shocked, Isuzu immediately fired her musket and woke up. She quickly took a shower and reflected on the dream, recalling some things Seiya had said to her in the past. As she got ready, she looked in the mirror and tried smiling. That morning during breakfast, Isuzu greeted Macaron. The menu for the day was curry. Macaron asked if she was sure about eating that dish. Isuzu replied that she suddenly felt like having it that morning. Macaron warned her to be careful since the day before, Crocky had tried eating it and ended up with a stomachache. Sitting beside Isuzu, Macaron remarked that eating curry in the morning could lead to weight gain. He knew that Isuzu often ate alone and pointed out that she wasn't particularly sociable, meaning she was the type to get caught up in complicated matters. However, every time Macaron spoke, Isuzu only responded with, "maybe so." Feeling mischievous, Macaron suddenly called out Seiya's name. The moment Isuzu turned to look, he quickly slipped a pill into her food. That morning on her way to school, a friend greeted Isuzu and asked why she looked so pale. Isuzu answered in great detail, explaining that she had a bad dream, ate terrible curry, got mocked by a colleague, and that nothing was going smoothly at work. Her friend commented that she must be going through a lot. Isuzu admitted that she was supposed to support Seiya from behind the scenes but was unsure if she was meeting his expectations. Suddenly realizing she had said too much, Isuzu quickly covered her mouth and walked away. That day, Mawful was supervising the fairies as they practiced their moves and poses. Macaron and Tirami were also watching. Macaron casually told Tirami that he had slipped a truth serum pill into Isuzu's food that morning at breakfast. Tirami asked if Macaron did that to find out his daughter's true feelings. He then asked if Macaron was trying to gain custody from his ex-wife. Macaron admitted that was exactly what he wanted, which was why he decided to test Isuzu first. Tirami commented that Isuzu was probably struggling right now since her heart was being forced to express her true feelings. Macaron originally just wanted to see if the pill worked, but Isuzu had rushed off to school before he could observe the results. Meanwhile, Tirami's perverted mind had other ideas. He was actually hoping to ask her how many times she masturbated in a week. Macaron also said that if Tirami dared to ask that question, he would probably get killed afterward. However, Isuzu overheard them and immediately pointed her musket at them. Tirami and Macaron were terrified, and Isuzu quickly fired at both of them. Seiya arrived and asked what was going on. Isuzu explained that they deserved it because they had given her the honesty fruit and were trying to ask inappropriate questions like how many times she had masturbated. Isuzu quickly covered her mouth and asked Seiya not to think about what she had just said. Seiya didn't understand what Isuzu was talking about and didn't care about it. He immediately asked her to accompany him to the administration office because there was an interview scheduled at 1 o'clock. Isuzu was surprised and Seiya asked if something was wrong with her. Still under the effects of the honesty fruit, Isuzu revealed the truth, saying she was dealing with a lot of problems because she was being forced to express what was on her mind. Seiya was really scared that she might accidentally reveal the strange feelings she had for him. Every time Seiya asked her a question, Isuzu answered it exactly as it came to her mind, repeatedly covering her mouth to prevent herself from saying things she shouldn't say in front of Seiya. In the interview room, Seiya, Mawful, and Isuzu interviewed each applicant. The first applicant was a man who had failed in the mayoral election and was applying to work in the entertainment industry so that one day he could become the prime minister. Malful called it impossible, but Isuzu said that the man was tough and Seiya immediately accepted him because his brave attitude would help him go further. The second applicant was a high school athlete who was crying, regretting what caused him to lose in a match. Isuzu said that the tears of a high school athlete could inspire others. Seiya accepted him because players should be able to control the emotions of their guests. The third applicant was a professional wrestler who had been fired from professional wrestling because of his shyness, which made it hard for him to lock his opponents. Isuzu said that people like him already had Okuro in the security department. Seiya asked the man to take off his mask, but the man refused, saying he would rather die than remove it. Seiya asked Okuro to come and fight the man. The man skillfully locked Okuro, and Isuzu even said his wrestling style came from instincts. Seiya accepted him. The next applicants included a ninja, an astronaut, and even someone with strange dancing skills. All of them were accepted by Seiya. Suddenly, a beautiful girl came in to apply for a job named Adaki Aiko. Malful and Seiya were happy to finally interview someone normal. Isuzu was shocked to see that the woman looked exactly like someone from her dream. Aiko had previously worked in talent agencies and film production, but it turned out the films she worked on were adult videos. Seiya and Malful were taken aback, especially since she had starred in more than 10 films. Malful urged Seiya to ask her about her stage name, but Seiya clearly couldn't ask such a thing. Seiya then asked Isuzu for her opinion, and Isuzu told him not to dump this onto her since her mind was blank. Furthermore, the woman looked so much like a former applicant from her dream, and her work experience was shaking Seiya to his core. Isuzu then mentioned that Seiya seemed to be obsessed with older women who had big breasts, tolerant minds, and a lot of sexual experience, unlike herself. Isuzu even thought that Seiya would make Aiko his secretary and fire her. She immediately covered her mouth and hit her head because she realized she had said too much to Seiya. Seiya was a bit concerned about her, and Isuzu asked him to ask Aiko why she was applying for the job. Seiya asked Aiko why she wanted to work with him, and Aiko explained that her previous job didn't suit her. Although she enjoyed it, she wanted to meet her clients face-to-face and make them happy. Seiya accepted her right away.